Today I wanted to cover what's really going on with the blanket rezoning in Calgary, where things stand now with the new mayor, what a rollback might actually look like, and most importantly, what it means for buyers, sellers, and investors in 2026 and beyond. It's still an ongoing situation, but hopefully I can clarify a little bit about where we are now and where we might be headed. So let's get into it. So, as many of you know, in May of 2024, the City Council voted in favor of a citywide blanket rezoning policy, meaning that the default residential zoning policy across many areas of the city ended up changing. Instead of only single-family homes, the blanket rezoning allowed for most property types to be built in most areas. The idea was part of a broader affordable housing push. It intended to make it easier for more housing to be built in Calgary, allow for building at a quicker pace, and offer a wider variety of housing choices across Calgary. So on December 15th, City Council voted 13-2 to formally begin the process of repealing the blanket rezoning. This doesn't instantly reverse the policy. It starts the process to tweak the land use bylaws back towards the old rules. This motion was largely supported by most of the councillors and the mayor. Its aim was to direct the city administration to prepare an amendment to the land use bylaw that would essentially return zoning rules to what they were before the city's blanket rezoning took effect, but with exceptions in place to protect any development permits already approved. Importantly, the repeal of the blanket rezoning is not final yet. Because it involves changing the land use bylaw, it still has to go through a public hearing, and this is now scheduled for March 23rd at 9:30 a.m. before City Council can make the final call. Right now, the policy itself is still in effect. What the December 15th vote did was direct the city to prepare an amendment to change the land use bylaw back to pre-blanket rezoning rules. So that amendment will go to the public hearing on March 23rd, and after that hearing, City Council can decide whether or not to finalize the repeal. In other words, the city is formally on the path towards repeal, but the zoning won't officially change until the council votes after the hearing. Development permits that have already been approved or are currently going through the approval process will still be protected, and they're not going to be wiped out retroactively. That's to give ongoing projects a little bit of certainty while the details of the blanket rezoning repeal are formally sorted out. So this blanket rezoning was controversial from day one. Supporters said that it would create more housing supply, add a mix of housing types to the city, and help with affordability in the long run, while critics said that it would change the character of existing neighborhoods, increase parking and infrastructure pressures, and reduce community involvement in planning. These concerns became a major issue in the 2025 municipal election, and the December 15th vote reflects City Council's response to that ongoing debate. So even with a 13-2 vote to begin the process, this isn't a simple off switch. The public hearing in March will be a big deal because it gives Calgarians a chance to weigh in before City Council makes its final decision. This means that the outcome still could change. The bylaw amendment might fully revert back to pre-blanket rezoning rules. It could be modified to address specific concerns while keeping some reforms, or it could end up being more of a hybrid approach. So really, with where we are right now, there's just nothing set in stone yet. So for buyers, right now, zoning rules remain the same until the repeal is finalized. So that means properties with multiple units, like duplexes or row houses, are part of the mix in rezoned areas. Developers and builders can still move forward with projects that fit the current rules, and it's going to take a while for all of the new builds that have been initiated to be absorbed by the market. If zoning does change after the public hearing, as it probably will, it could tighten supply in some established neighborhoods, potentially reinforcing price pressure on lower supply areas. So if you're watching for opportunities in areas with rezoned lots, you'll want to keep an eye on the public hearing in March. For sellers, this type of uncertainty can definitely affect buyer perception. Listings in areas that were rezoned and seen as flexible may sell differently if buyers anticipate change even before it happens. Also, investors should be especially aware. Developers chasing infill or multi-unit builds are going to be paying close attention to the March public hearing, and any projects that aren't currently greenlit could face new rules after that point. And for investors, this type of uncertainty might affect timelines or expected returns. But again, projects that are currently approved or in the approval process are going to be grandfathered in. So that's going to be a key point when evaluating any investment under the current rezoning rules. And if you've got a multifamily project on the go or would like to get one on the go, you should probably get the approval process in that pipeline as soon as possible. So if you're buying, selling, or investing, this is one of those policy decisions that probably matters a lot. And I'll be keeping you up to date as these things move forward. So drop a comment below if the blanket rezoning debate in Calgary has affected your plans. If you found this video helpful and informative, and I hope you did, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.